Hello, and welcome to Now You're Cooking with Gas. This video is about adding an armor attribute, which will be removed before health, and converting the incoming damage to an attribute. I'm going to start this by creating a broadcast delegate. This takes 4 parameters: the instigator, the causer, which very similar, but not quite, the effect spec that was used, and the magnitude, so in this case damage. If you right click on here and go to definition, you can see in delegate combinations there's just a different macro for different number of parameters. To 9 it looks like, and some other useful macros. Going to add our new armor attributes and damage. Armor is going to work very similarly to health. It's all set up the same. Damage does not need an on rep because it is an instant attribute. We're going to create the 2 delegates. So, given what these are named, I'm sure you can guess. These are called or broadcasted when we run out of health or armor. And we need 2 variables to track that so that they're not constantly being called. Ball. Gotta watch out for that type. Ball. We're going to check for the range of the armor, just like the health. Need to include 2 more in here. Alright, so most of our changes will go in post gameplay effect execute. Alright, then we're pasting in this big block of code. We call the super version the function as usual. Then we're checking the attribute to see if it's the inDamage attribute we just created, which I will now rename to inDamage. We're saving the value of the damage, setting the in-damage attribute value back to 0. As long as that damage was positive, we save the armor, or the new armor, based on the armor, subtracting the damage that was just done. Reclamp the armor back to 0 between max. If that value is 0, this can't be negative, but we leave it here in case that functionality changes. And we have not yet called this broadcast delegate. We do that here by getting the instigator and the causer from the effect context, sending that along with the effect spec and the evaluated magnitude. This is the attribute that was changed, so this is the in-damage value. Next, we get the health, and if the armor was negative, the temp value up here, then we add that negative value to the health. So for example, if armor was 30, but the damage incoming was 50, new armor would then become negative 20. And then if health was, say, 100, 100 plus the negative 20 would make it 80. So the armor would the end result is the armor would be 0, the health would be 80. We're then clamping the health again, and like above here, if it's 0, we're going to send or broadcast the delegate, sending the same information. Also need to include gameplay effect extension for this here. Compile that. Launch the editor. So now that incoming damage is coming in as an attribute instead of just setting health to a negative value, we need to update those locations. So first of all, the gameplay effect. This is now in damage being set, still set by caller. What's happening in the damage area. So the only change that needs to be made for this, because it's still being set by this value, is that the damage is no longer needed to be used as negative. This 10 damage coming in as opposed to negative 10 damage coming in makes a little bit more sense. It's also in the ability. I also need to update the UI. So for this, I'm just going to wrap this in a vertical box. Make a copy of it. Call it bar armor. Increase the size of the box. Make both these just take up the space, so they'll take up half each. I'll put armor on top of health. And make it yellow. I'll make health green while I'm here, because blue health just feels weird. And here I need to make another update. So that will be basically the same. think that would not work, so I'm just going to re-drag it in. And we need to call that like we did. Which means we'll need a on armor changed event as well. All right, let's close this back down and add the bits I missed. So in the character, just going to duplicate these. Create this function, which again just calls the blueprint version. Hit tab too early there. All right, just do a search for that. Brings me up here. It's going to get the armor attribute and call the armor attribute changed function. All right, and I also need to create the delegate functions. This will be the delegate for the health, the armor, and this is the same set of parameters than the four param macro. This will be just the blueprint version of the function. So to hook those up is a little different. And then we do the same for armor. This will just call the blueprint version. Launch the editor again. And in the character where we missed on armor. Test that out. And it set the armor to, oh. It didn't set those initial values. All right, let's go back and do that. So in the attribute set constructor, set armor also to, so let's set them, actually 50. Set them both to 50. All right, now you can see the armor goes down 1/5 at a time. Regen some health. Has no effect on armor. All right, so what if we want an armor pickup? I put that in the wrong place. When you rename a file, which is what moving does, it will leave a redirector. If you turn on the show redirectors like I did under other filters, you can see the redirector file. You can right click that, hit fix up, and then it's now redirected in 2 steps. All right, so this pickup is just generically applying this. So I'm going to convert this to a variable. Right, 2 children. Now I need the effect for adding armor. It will simply be an instant effect with the modifier to armor. Let's make it 20. Back to the pickup. Set this one to armor. That one back in there. Make a copy, holding Alt. Throw the armor one in over here. There you have it. To add the event in case the armor or health drop to 0. Like that. You can see who caused the damage, the amount of damage. Just throw a print in here. Third-person character caused its own damage because, again, we're not using a source or an ability system on the damage causer here, so it was sent applying the gameplay effect or spec to itself. Alright, thanks for watching. If you liked the video and you would like to see more, you know what to do. If you have suggestions on future content or abilities you would like to see, let me know.